I always hated weddings. Not because I didn't believe in love, I used to believe in it so hard it left bruises, but because weddings strip people bare. Especially when you're not the bride. It was a sticky May afternoon when we rolled up to the venue. White and gold everywhere, like a Pinterest board threw up, string lights, floral arches, a champagne fountain screaming money. Everyone glowed, except me. I hauled Sophie on my hip, 7 months old, cheeks pink, drooling through teething hell. I hadn't slept more than 2 hours a night all week, but there I was, stuffed into a navy dress Daniel picked, hair yanked tight into a bun that pinched, smile rehearsed like I was auditioning for Wife, the musical. My arms ached, my feet throbbed in heels I hadn't worn since pre-Sophie, but I kept my chin up. Couldn't let the cracks show. Daniel adjusted his cufflinks like he was James Bond, cool, polished, proud.
So proud.
He always lit up around Matthew, his golden boy brother. I used to think it was cute, that sibling bond. Now I saw it. Worship. The kind of pride he never spared for me. I shifted Sophie, her weight digging in, and grazed his hand. He flinched, like I'd shocked him. Then he leaned in, breath sharp with mint and menace. "Don't embarrass me," he hissed. "You're just a baby carrier today. Look pretty. Stay quiet." That was it. Something snapped, not loud, just a quiet crack inside me. Like someone hollowed me out and left the shell of a woman who used to matter. I wasn't a person to him, just a prop for his perfect day. I laughed. A jagged, half-choked sound. Prayed no one saw my face splinter as I scanned the crowd. Cousins laughing, aunts dabbing tears, all oblivious. The other wives sat like statues, elegant, poised, silent. Were they dying inside too? Smiling through gritted teeth? Had they been seen once before fading into shadows? I caught Lydia's eye, married to Daniel's cousin. She gave a tight nod, like she knew. I didn't want to be there. Not in that dress, that chair, that life. But I stayed. Because Daniel said, no drama. Because he said, be presentable. Because he said, don't make this about you. And I obeyed. Survival, not strength. And survival's not love. Sophie squirmed on my lap, tiny hands tugging my necklace like an anchor. My skin burned from Daniel's whisper. Look pretty. Stay quiet. The words looped, a mantra of erasure. The ceremony blurred, speeches, laughter, tears. Matthew's mom reminisced about scraped knees. His dad cracked dry jokes. Then Daniel took the stage, and the man I once loved morphed into a stranger with a mic. He waxed poetic about loyalty, legacy, brotherhood. His voice was velvet, rehearsed, like he'd been born for this. A story about Matthew saving him from a 5th-grade bully got nods and smiles. My name? Not a whisper. Sophie? Invisible. Then the mic came to me. A cousin in a too-big suit passed it down. Would you like to say something? Matthew asked, all smiles, oblivious to the grenade he'd handed me. My heart plummeted, thudding hard. Daniel's head snapped around. You don't have to, he said, smooth but edged with steel, a warning in kindness clothing. I looked at him, his eyes daring me to obey. Then I stood. My legs wobbled under that damn dress, heels sinking into grass, but I gripped the mic like it owed me blood. Like it was my last chance to be heard. Thank you. I started, voice thin, trembling. I wasn't planning this, but weddings are about moments, right? Moments we carry. A few nods. A rustle of programs. I remember my wedding, I said, louder now. Daniel froze, cufflinks glinting as his hands clenched. 26. Nervous. Hopeful. I wore a dress I couldn't afford, stood in a church basement, thought I was marrying a man who saw me. A cough. A glass clinked. Daniel's eyes screamed, stop. I smiled wider, teeth bared. You dream of a life. Sunday mornings with burnt toast. Quiet coffee while rain taps the window. Baby names whispered when you're too tired to think. Someone to hold your hand when you're leaking milk, in the same shirt for 3 days, wondering if you'll sleep again. The silence thickened, heavy as fog. Sophie cooed, oblivious. Sometimes, though, I pressed on, voice steadying. You wake up and you're not a wife. You're a utility. A vessel. Background noise to someone else's big day. I glanced at Sophie, calm in my arms, then at Daniel. And sometimes, I said, slow and deliberate, the man who said you made him better flinches when you touch him. Not anger. Just forgetting you're human. My voice broke on human, raw and unhidden, but I held it together. Matthew, Claire. I turned to them, mic shaking. Don't stop seeing each other. Because when you do, it's not marriage. It's a performance. And I'm tired of playing my part. I handed the mic back, legs trembling, and walked off. Sophie pressed to my chest like a shield. The crowd parted. Some stared, some whispered, but I didn't care. Daniel didn't follow. Not yet. But the storm was brewing. And I was ready. I spoke. My voice wasn't just noise, it echoed. I didn't cry. Not stepping off the stage. Not passing stunned faces. Matthew's aunt gaping. A cousin mid-sip. Not even with Sophie warm against me, oblivious to the bomb I'd dropped. I stopped behind the hall, where music faded to a hum and air smelled of asphalt and freedom. My heels sank into gravel, and I shifted Sophie, her weight grounding me. That's when Daniel found me. His steps were sharp, a storm in a suit, tie still perfect despite the heat. What the hell was that? He spat, eyes blazing. Are you insane? I turned slow, heart pounding, not fear, release. I told the truth. You embarrass me in front of my entire family. His voice cracked the polished facade. No, I said, steady as stone. I reminded them I'm here. He loomed closer, towering, cologne sharp in the humid air. You had no right. I had every right. You don't own my voice. He stopped, staring like I was a stranger. Maybe I was. For once, I wasn't apologizing or shrinking. I gave you everything, he snarled, fists tight. No, I shot back, voice rising. I gave us everything, years, tears, a daughter. You took it, twisted it. And I was supposed to thank you for scraps? Sophie stirred. I rocked her, eyes locked on him. Go home, he said, clipped and cold. Now. We'll talk later. Another order. No offer to carry Sophie. No glance at her sleepy face. He stormed off, back to the glitter and champagne, shoulders stiff like he'd rewritten the story already. I stood there, roses and exhaust in the air, cicadas buzzing faintly. Then I walked to the car, heels clicking defiance. Drove home alone. Sophie slept in the back seat, fists curled, peaceful as night stretched dark and endless. And I cried, loud. Ugly sobs that filled the void he left. Not hidden in a bathroom or muffled behind a laundry door. Just mine. Raw and unapologetic. When I pulled in, I sat there, engine off, tears streaking mascara. Wiped my face, unbuckled Sophie. Carried her inside, her warmth tethering me. Something broke that day. But something sparked, a flicker I hadn't felt in years. I drove away. First step out of his shadow. Next morning, Daniel acted like nothing happened. Coffee poured with precision. A quick kiss on Sophie's forehead. Phone scrolling stock updates. Like I hadn't ripped our facade apart in front of 100 witnesses. I stood at the sink, hands shaky, rinsing her bottle under too hot water. My eyes burned from crying alone. But he didn't look at me. Hadn't really looked in months, maybe years. Jim, he said flatly, grabbing keys. Parents at 3. Don't mention last night. I blinked. That was it. No fight, just erasure. He paused at the door, coat slung over his arm. What else is there? Nothing. Because he didn't apologize. Never to me. But I was done waiting for sorry. I wanted out. When the door clicked shut, resolve clicked in sharp, clean like a blade. I grabbed a notebook from the kitchen drawer, pages yellowed, and wrote. Bank account. A resume. Daycare. Emergency contacts. Each line was a brick in my escape, a map out of this cage. Before Sophie, I'd been a graphic designer. Freelance, logos, flyers, small websites. Nothing glamorous but mine. Daniel called it unnecessary. He made 6 figures, bonuses, the works. Why work when I could stay home, be presentable, keep the house spotless, the baby quiet? That day, while Sophie napped, I reinstalled the software. The laptop hummed, dust-coated from months in a closet. The loading screen hit, color and code swirling, and I sobbed. Not pain, relief. I wasn't just a shadow, a body folding laundry, or memorizing pacifier brands. I had skills, instincts, value. First gig, a logo for a canceled client who forgot to kill autopay. $184 hit my PayPal. Felt like a jackpot, a middle finger to his "you can't." That night, after I sent in the logo files, I smiled for no one. No audience. Just me. For the first time in months, I felt like a woman again. Not a shadow. The screen glowed, my work alive on it. Sharp lines, bold colors, a piece of me I'd buried. I sat there, coffee cold, and let it sink in. I was waking up. Nights, while Daniel watched TV or scrolled stock reports, I designed in secret, headphones on, lights low. Saved files in hidden folders with nonsense names like grocery lists. Worked until my eyes burned, contacts dry, building something he couldn't touch. Every click, every layer, stitched me back together, a woman who'd once laughed at deadlines, who'd once had dreams bigger than laundry piles. A week later, I landed a website redesign for a Vermont nonprofit, $800, real deadlines, a contract with my name. Respect from strangers who didn't care about my dress size or how well I played. Happy wife. That night, I stayed up tweaking the layout. Fonts crisp, colors popping. When I hit save, I leaned back, heart racing. This was mine. I was alive again, not just surviving. Every dollar went to a secret account at a credit union he didn't know. Sold old clothes online, dresses he'd bought that I hated. Clipped coupons. Hid receipts in Sophie's diaper bag under wipes. Then I slipped, an invoice left on the counter. Ink smudged. "What's this?" Daniel asked, voice low, holding it like evidence. "Payment," I said, forcing casual, heart hammering. "For a project." "You're working now?" His eyes narrowed. I never stopped being able to. His jaw tightened, a muscle twitching. "You should have told me." "I did," I said, meeting his gaze. "Years ago. You didn't hear."
He didn't yell.
Just walked away, leaving the invoice crumpled. That silence? Worse than rage. It meant he'd noticed. He'd watched closer. I checked every lock that night, front door, back, windows. Slept with keys under my pillow. But I didn't stop. My rebellion had legs, and it was running. First contract. A paycheck with my name, proof I was breathing again. Hey, if you're vibing with this story of breaking free, hit that subscribe button. I've got more real talk coming. After the invoice, Daniel dropped the act. No more fake "how was your day" chats. Just watching, silent, still, a predator in a pressed shirt. Pausing in doorways like he could hear my thoughts. Snapping his laptop shut when I entered, screen dark before I could glimpse it. Then the charm offensive, casual probes with that smile. "Out a lot lately, huh? Talking to old friends? Still doing those little projects?" Worse, he called my mom. I picked up expecting her usual "how's Sophie" check-in. Instead, her voice was tight. "Honey," she said, "Daniel's worried. Says you're overwhelmed. Paranoid." Pulling away from him and Sophie. "What?" I choked, gripping the phone. "He's just concerned," she added. "Maybe talk to someone. Just in case." Just in case. He was planting seeds. If I left, he'd say I snapped. Poor unstable me, dragging Sophie into my breakdown. That night, I printed everything, invoices, emails, job offers, bank statements, hands trembling as the printer whirred. Slid them into a manila folder. Buried it in Sophie's diaper bag under formula. Packed an emergency kit, diapers, clothes, $50 cash from a grocery refund. Stashed it in the trunk under a blanket. Just in case. Next week, I stopped by a women's shelter, not to stay, to plan. Rosa, the coordinator, didn't blink when I mentioned Sophie. She leaned forward, gray braids swinging, and said, "I've seen 100 like you. Everyone made it. When you're ready, we're here. She handed me a pamphlet, grip firm, eyes steady. I bought a burner phone with cash from a gas station, $20, prepaid, untraceable. Hid it in a tampon box under the sink. Deleted my history nightly, shelters, lawyers, bus routes. Hid papers in plastic bags under the bathroom sink, triple-wrapped beneath towels. Memorized escape routes. Left at the gas station, right at the diner, straight to the highway. Then Daniel came home early. Flowers, peonies, my favorite, petals mocking. First time in 2 years. Let's reconnect, he said, arranging them in a vase, voice smooth. Get back to being a team. He poured wine, sat close, arm draped along the couch, not touching, hovering a noose waiting. You've been different, he said, swirling his glass. Busier. Secretive. Just busy. I lied, staring at the wine I wouldn't drink. Lean on me, he pressed, eyes locked. If something's wrong, say it.
Concern? No.
Surveillance. A trap baited with flowers. Later, I checked my phone, unlocked it, and froze. A new app, Secure Track. GPS mic, texts. All active. Ice flooded my veins. Deleted it, hands shaking, breath shallow. Checked Sophie's bag. The folder was gone. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. Repacked. New folder, new spot under the car seat. Moved the emergency bag to the garage behind paint cans. Lay beside him that night, silent, his cologne choking the air like control in a bottle. My move was next. No second chances. Burner phone. A lifeline he couldn't cut. The night before I bolted, the house felt wrong.
Thick. Still.
Waiting, like it knew. Daniel sat in his office, door cracked, typing late. I passed once. His eyes burned my back. Later, during Sophie's bath, he appeared in the doorway, wine in hand, smiling too soft. We've lost our rhythm, he said, voice syrupy. Maybe a weekend away. Reset. Sounds nice, I mumbled, scrubbing Sophie's toes. He nodded, satisfied, sipping his wine.
He thought he had me.
Thought I'd fold. Big mistake. I packed a second bag, burner, formula, birth certificates, a spare key I'd swiped. Checked the car twice, tires, gas, oil. Mapped my route on the burner, fingers smudging the screen. Bed at 10 p.m., lying still next to him, clock ticking like a bomb. His breathing, deep, smug, mocked me as I counted minutes. 3:14 a.m. I moved. Slipped out, silent, into the nursery. Sophie stirred when I lifted her, but didn't cry. Her head flopped against my shoulder, warm and trusting. I grabbed her giraffe blanket. Outside, the world was cold, silent. The porch light buzzed, casting shadows. Trunk loaded, bag in, diapers tucked beside it. Sophie buckled, straps clicking too loud. Then the door clicked. Daniel stood there, barefoot, backlit. Watching. No words. No rush. Just eyes, dark, pinning me. I stared back, hand on the gear shift, keys biting my palm. 1 beat.
2. Gas.
Tires squealed, soft but sharp, as I peeled out. I didn't look back, couldn't. Red lights glared like traps, headlights in the rear view spiking my pulse. Was that him? No, a truck. I kept going, for Sophie, for me, knuckles white. 4:43 a.m. shelter lot. A woman, another Rosa, solid and soft, stepped out, porch light glowing. Come in, she said, no questions. Portable crib for Sophie. A room with a lock for me. I shut the door, turned the bolt, and breathed. Not careful. Not quiet.
Free.
We made it.
Safe. Gone.
If this escape got your heart racing, subscribe. I'm dropping more stories of grit soon. 2 weeks later, Matthew called. Post-wedding dinner, he said, voice warm. Family and friends who missed it. We want you to speak again. You sure? I laughed, dry. After last time? Especially after, he said. You hit people hard. Claire's mom cried for an hour. I paused. Daniel would be there. Was I ready? Then I remembered. I saw myself now. Yes, I said. Smaller crowd, 30, 40. String lights twinkled over folding chairs. I wore a borrowed black dress, simple, mine by choice. Sophie rocked a sun-yellow onesie, babbling at strangers, clueless about the war I'd fought. I took the mic when Matthew waved me up. Heart thumping, palms damp. Saw Daniel in the back, arms crossed, face unreadable. His mom beside him, lips pursed. He didn't look at Sophie, cooing in my arms.
Didn't look at me.
He couldn't. When I spoke at the wedding, I started, voice steadying. I said marriage is seeing each other. But I didn't say this. Couldn't then. You have to see yourself first. Silence stretched, attentive. I shrank for years. Apologized for breathing too loud. Adjusted to fit his rules. Thought if I was perfect, quiet enough, pretty enough, love would stay. Cruelty was a phase. Silence was stress. I flicked my eyes to Daniel. His jaw twitched. It wasn't. I left. Hardest thing I've done. Not because I stopped loving, but because I loved myself more than his comfort. Some looked down, twisting napkins. Others saw me, really saw me for the first time. No one clapped, I said, smiling small. They didn't need to. The silence held it, the weight, the truth. I handed the mic back, thanked Claire with a nod, and stepped down. Past Daniel on my way out. Looked him dead in the eye, cold, unflinching. He said nothing. He'd built a life on power and silence. I'd walked out with everything he thought I couldn't, myself, my daughter, my voice. That night, Sophie curled against me, breath warm. We are free, I whispered to me. I faced him, and won the silence. Freedom didn't stay quiet. Days after, Daniel filed an emergency custody petition. I'd fled without notice. Was unstable. Endangering Sophie. Attached the Secure Track app as proof he'd been protecting me, twisted into concern. Lies so meticulous they gleamed. But I was ready. Every invoice, email, pay stub, daycare form, I handed them to Celia Hart, my attorney. Sharp-eyed, she sized Daniel up and muttered. He's spinning a tale. You've built a life. We've got this. First hearing was brutal. A packed courtroom, Daniel's family in the front row, reporters scribbling in the back. He wore our wedding suit, charcoal gray, symbolic, slimy. Tie perfect. Face all concern, rehearsed to a fault. Called me fragile. Said he'd tried everything to help. Heartbroken, I'd used Sophie as a pawn. His lawyer painted me as a wreck, disheveled, unhinged, a danger. I sat still, chin up, hands folded in my lap. No tears, they'd call me weak. Celia stood, voice like steel. She laid out the evidence, tracking logs showing his app on my phone for months, bank records of him draining our joint account, emails from daycare proving my stability. Rosa's statement. She arrived at 4:43 a.m., calm, prepared, child safe. Then the voicemail, recorded by accident when I'd pocket-dialed myself. You need me. No job, no savings, no plan. You're stuck. His voice, cold, smug, blared through the courtroom speakers. Daniel's mother covered her mouth, eyes wide with shock. Someone in the back, a friend of Matthew's, gasped loud enough to turn heads. One juror, a gray-haired woman, shook her head in disgust, lips pursed tight. The room shifted, whispers rippled through the gallery, Daniel's polished mask cracking under every stare. His lawyer fumbled papers, sweat beading on his brow. Celia didn't stop. She played Matthew's recording next, Daniel laughing with a buddy. She's not going anywhere. I've got her phone locked down. The judge leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Daniel's mother stood abruptly, her chair scraping, and walked out, head down, heels clicking a retreat. Two of his cousins followed, not meeting his gaze. The reporters scribbled faster, pens scratching like a swarm. Temporary joint custody came down, not ideal, a gut punch. But Sophie stayed with me, shelter vouched, a win for now. The judge's voice was clipped. We'll revisit this. Soon. Parking garage after, he cornered me, suit wrinkled, smile gone. This isn't over, he snarled, voice tight. You're the hero now. I'm not the hero, I said, stepping closer. But I'm no victim. His eyes flared. He wasn't used to this me. I walked past, heels clicking on concrete, the echo of that courtroom still ringing in my ears. Back at the shelter, Sophie giggled at cereal crumbs, oblivious. He could fight.
Spin. Claw.
But I held the key, and the world had seen him for what he was. Courtroom showdown. His mask didn't just crack, it shattered publicly. Next day, my first real paycheck cleared, $2,450.12. Not life-changing cash, but power, proof I didn't need him. I stared at the number, coffee cold, chest shifting. Took Sophie downtown. Sun warm, air crisp. She babbled at pigeons, pointed at buses. We hit a cafe I'd passed 100 times but never entered, too scared before. Coffee for me, muffin for her, crumbs everywhere. I laughed free, loud. No one to shush me. No tracking. No timer. Just us. That night, I posted on LinkedIn. Back after a family break. Design still home. Just starting. Messages flooded. Old clients, friends, a professor who'd called me tenacious. Then a creative director from Seattle. Love your regrow logos, range and heart. Let's talk big projects. I blinked. Someone saw me. Valued me. Yes, I said, hands shaking. Contracts rolled in $1, $200, $900. Interviewed for a retainer. Applied for an apartment. Not a shelter, a real lease. Peeling cabinets, creaky floors, but sunlight poured in, locks mine alone. Every night, I worked layouts, logos, websites. Each save button pressed brought me back. I wasn't just surviving. I was alive, creating me again. Daniel kept filing, motions on instability, unregulated work. Celia shut him down every time, her voice cutting through his lawyer's drone. He was losing the script. I was writing mine. One night, on a mattress in my empty living room, laptop on a paint can, I published an essay, The Ghost in the Photograph. Vanishing in your own life, clawing back.
Raw.
Real. No permission needed. First lease. A door I locked myself. Love a comeback? Subscribe. I'm sharing more stories of rising from the ashes. The essay went semi-viral, thousands of shares. Women wrote me too. You gave me words. A podcast called. An editor offered a column, motherhood, strength, quiet wins. I waited, said yes for me. Then a letter arrived, no return address, postmarked from Matthew's town. Check your old email, it said.
And signed.
I dug into an account buried under spam, an email from Lydia, sent days after the wedding. I saw you, she wrote. Matthew knows about Daniel, tracking, control. He's got proof. Call me. Shock hit. Matthew, golden boy, knew? Lydia, too? I dialed. She answered, voice low. Matthew's been watching him. We've got texts, recordings. Wanna help? Send it, I said. Next court date, Celia used it. Matthew's evidence. Daniel bragging about keeping me in line, laughing about the app. His brother turned the tide. Judge's gavel fell. Full custody to me. Daniel's rights slashed to supervised visits. The courtroom buzzed, his mother's absence louder than any words. He didn't fight after.
Couldn't.
His story collapsed. Hidden edge. Matthew and Lydia flipped the game. 6 months later, I stood barefoot in my apartment, coffee in hand, Sophie asleep. The mirror showed me shadows, stretch marks, still learning, but solid.
Alive.
The ghost grew. Women's messages piled up, a book deal loomed. Daniel's motions died, judges tired of his noise. Celia called him control unraveling. He offered a deal, money, custody split if I dropped it. No, I said, voice steel. Dignity's not for sale. One Friday, I took Sophie to the venue. Empty, sunlight through trees, stage bare. I stood where I'd spoken, whispered, don't stop seeing each other. Or yourself. She chewed her giraffe, kicking free. I smiled, not easy but mine. That night, I watched her sleep, caught my reflection. Not a ghost. A woman who built her own light. And she was staying. Full custody. My daughter, my rules, my peace. 1 year later, Sophie's daycare wall featured a framed poster, a logo I designed. Bold, simple, alive. Under it, a quote from my essay. You don't need permission to be real. That was my business name now, Real. Design that sees you. Clients lined up, nonprofits, startups, women like me rebuilding from scratch. My TikTok bio read, from ghost to glow. Watch me rise. Every short clip, Sophie giggling, my laptop humming, racked up views. People shared it with "This is strength," and she did that. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. For her, for me, for every shadow stepping into the light. Real. A name, a life, a legacy, mine to keep. If this journey hit you, subscribe. Let's keep telling stories that matter.